Sabah al-Khair. Good morning, dear listeners. You're listening to Radio 3CR on 855 AM and Palestine Remembered with Robert Martin, Nasser Mashni and Yusuf Ahmed al-Rimawi.
Palestine Remembered is Australia's only English-language radio program that is totally dedicated to Palestine. We'd like to welcome those listening on 855 and those that will join us on podcast at 3cr.org.au.
Thanks for joining us. Stay with us and enjoy the episode.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yusuf, Robert.
Nasser, Yusuf, how are you? And listeners, welcome.
Listeners, be prepared for another great edition.
Action-packed.
Yeah, so Nasser, tell us what we have today.
I think we're going to lead off with the Zionism of Kashmir.
Yes, the large-scale Indian military operation in Kashmir, which is greatly supported by Israel. But also we will talk about the controversial statement made by U.S. peace convoy Jason Greenblatt, in which he said, we'll say what he said, but then of course we'll elaborate on it, in which he said that Israel is the victim in the conflict. Poor Israel.
Poor Israel. So perhaps we start with Kashmir. One of the.
But can I also say that we will give tribute to Kamal Balata, a Palestinian artist who left us last week. Okay, what do we have on Kashmir?
Well, firstly, for our listeners that don't know about Kashmir, the reality is Kashmir is a region between India and Pakistan, and we should go back, in fact, to 1948. For Palestinians is a very important year, but also for what was then India under British occupation, 1948, which saw the carve-up of India into three separate countries, East Pakistan, West Pakistan and India. East Pakistan ultimately became Bangladesh. Pakistan is Pakistan as we know. West Pakistan became Pakistan. India is India. And the British, as is their wont, on their way out, they always leave a little bit of a problem. As they left the Arab world, they left a little bit of a problem being Israel, Kuwait in Iraq, little friction points.
Also Sudan and Egypt.
And the friction point between India and Pakistan was Kashmir. And Kashmir is a vastly Muslim majority
population.
State. It is the only Muslim majority state in all of India. But this Muslim majority state, and we should make mention that the reason that they partitioned India into these three separate countries was to segregate the religions. They went to the Muslims, you need to move north and northeast into Pakistan, East Pakistan, West Pakistan, and Hindus and Sikhs down south.
With all the exodus that resulted, because
over 10 million people died.
Millions of Hindus used to live in Pakistan that were driven out of Pakistan to today's
and
India, and vice versa.
Well, upwards of 10 million people died in that mass movement of population.
10 million?
Over 10, yeah.
This is something imposed on the wills of Hindus and Muslims and all religions of India. So it's just a Western decision that resulted...
Called it a British settler colonialist decision.
So how did they die? Was it like being...
famine. You're walking. It's 1948. Okay. It's not like, they got on aeroplanes and trains.
Air conditioning.
No.
And also...
poor people. It's not the rich people that suffer.
And also conflicts.
Yeah. I say, of course, conflicts, yeah. And because that sectarianism is insidious as it is infectious. Human beings start believing that stuff. I am different to you. We used to go to school together yesterday, speak the same language, eat the same foods, ish. We should say ish about the same foods. And occasionally we'd intermarry, etc. And now here we are, at the ends of guns pointing at each other. Well, Kashmir, that region, which was a part, is a Muslim majority state and is a Muslim majority state within India and the only Muslim majority state.
Was given to India.
Was given to India and not to Pakistan, although it borders both. And for many years has been a significant challenge. In fact, in 1949, the United Nations passed a resolution saying that the people of Kashmir should be given a choice which way they go. So a year after the partition. That's never been
the case.
They've never been allowed to have self-determination. And in the past 89, so what is that, 20 years, there's been, 30 years, 89, 99, 30 years. Good maths.
I didn't want to correct you because your maths not
let's not
really
comment
good.
on your skills.
It is Saturday
and
morning, we're a
mathematics.
bit
Yeah.
tired, yeah.
We'll get the calculator out for him next time. Yes.
In the past 30 years, upwards of 100,000 Kashmiris have been killed by Indian forces. And what's happened in the past in the past week is that India has unilaterally scrapped Article 370, which and the Indian Constitution, which didn't allow non-Kashmiris to buy land or businesses within Kashmir. And so what that means now is that the overwhelming majority of Indians that aren't
Originally from Kashmir.
who want to live in what is a very beautiful part of the world, can now go buy land there, etc., etc., etc. And so, the Kashmir,
Basically changing the demography.
well, it's the first step, yeah. And what the Kashmiris are saying, this is the first step in the Indiaification of Kashmir, and changing Kashmir as we have seen in the Judaization of Jerusalem and Palestine, and that's where the parallels are. And in fact, the very, when we have a look at President Modi and his warm embrace of Netanyahu and the movement of the Indian peoples from a Gandhi and a Nehru, which were very, very pro-Palestinian,
Progressive.
part of the non-aligned movement, that were fully Palestinian.
In other words, at the right side of history.
What we saw from those statesmen to where we are today with Modi, who's embracing Netanyahu and is using Israeli technology, weaponry, to now begin his plan in Kashmir.
And also the nation-state model in which Zionism has defined finally Israel as a state for Jews. And this gives lessons to far-right movements around the world. Now Modi can say that India is for Hindus, and this is our only country in which we can have a majority. And basically, like Nasser said, the Indian-Israeli relations have witnessed a huge boost in the last 10 years. On all levels, on technology, on economy, on military collaboration, on intelligence coordination, and on ideological basis now. So fascism is on the rise in India and Israel and has been for quite a while.
Does this make him more comfortable doing it? So it's something that he's wanted to do for the years but too scared to, and all of a sudden now it's become almost popular to be right. Is that what's happened?
I would say so. What do you think, Nasser?
Well, the reality, Rob, is that a vast majority of the world is moving right. Whether it's in Brazil or France or Italy or Hungary, it's so easy now, to put the Muslim tag, Muslim terrorist, and it becomes palatable. And, the reality is Modi, India is 1.3 billion people. It's a nuclear-armed state. It's the world's largest democracy. He's embraced Netanyahu, which makes him friends automatically with Trump. And you say, these are terrorists, I've got to do something here.
We must remember that over the last decade or more, Israel used Islamophobia to infiltrate the pro-Palestine fortress of India. And with a nationalist party like the BJP, the Islamophobic discourse plays and sells very well. So Israel can go to India and say that just like you've been combating radical or militant Islam in Kashmir and other parts of India, we too in Israel are fighting the same enemy, and that's why we have to collaborate together. And unfortunately, the Palestinian diplomacy have learned the hard way that they cannot take anything for granted. So we assume that India will remain an ally forever, that yesterday's friends might be tomorrow's enemies.
We have assumed a affinity with other brown people. India bought $10 billion worth of Israeli arms in the past decade. They're a major trading partner. And, Netanyahu's over there going, you've got the same problem as us. They've got to deconstruct our just right for self-determination into something that's easily packageable and saleable in 160 characters as a tweet.
And easily
as a
understood.
news bulletin. And these are just mad, crazy, brown Friday worshipping MFs.
Terrorists.
When the reality is, what we are is an indigenous people that were stripped of their rights, stripped of their land, stripped of their homes, businesses, etc., places of worship. And when it's put into that context, a Pole who celebrates God on Saturday, her right to a 2,000-year-old right of return in no way supersedes my 71-year-old right of return. I know where my great-grandfather was buried, and his father, and his father, and his father. And so what we're seeing now, and you have a look at the tactics being used within Kashmir. I mean, the internet is down, the phones are down, the military is in schools. I mean, it's a complete and utter 2002 model invasion of the West Bank and reoccupation of Ramallah.
Isolating it
from the world so that nobody...
No witnesses.
No witnesses. Nobody outside can know what's going on inside, and nobody inside can tell anybody outside what is going on. And the reality is, here we are in the West, when our guy, Modi, India, it's a democracy, he was democratically elected when, he's obviously just cleaning house, he's got to deal with his terrorism problem. Along the journey, the protests, the Indian police use shotgun pellets, spray pellets that they shoot at head high, which at very close range would kill people. But the gunshots, the pellets in the shotguns are so small, they are specifically designed to blind people.
Yeah, mass blinding.
Mass blinding.
We may be witnessing the first mass blinding happening now in Kashmir.
It's medieval with technology, isn't it? It's just sickening.
And who is cheering for the Indian operation? Guess who? The Israelis.
Of course.
On
absolutely.
social media.
Yeah.
They are cheering what they call the Kashmir solution.
Is that what they're calling it?
That's the official name, or maybe the social media word that I have seen, Kashmir solution.
Oh.
And with all what it means, all the symbolic meaning of this word, and nevertheless, they are cheering.
Does the population follow Modi? Like, do they agree with it?
He got re-elected only a few months ago with a massive landslide.
So they obviously agree with him.
Well, he's there.
Fascism is on the rise.
Well, he's there, and then we spoke about it briefly last week. He's punching out that same bile that Donald Trump is. And it
sells well.
It sells well. People are selfish. And when I say you don't have because of them, and I'm the leader, we believe it. I mean, it's that brown Muslim's fault. That's the Mexicans' fault. Why you're poor in Detroit? Well, Donald Trump, you're every company you've had has had investigations. As a landlord, you've been taken to court for not renting to black people. And he's on record in an interview going, you wouldn't want to live next door to him either, he said to a white reporter. I mean, whether it's a sexual harassment, whether, the bankruptcies and all those things.
Anti-Muslim.
But he gets up there and says that stuff and exposes America for how terribly white nationalist it is. I mean, now you have to look at what happened in Crown Casino during the week with Ben Simmons, Australia's most...
It's 250 million he's worth.
It's like crazy money, yeah?
He's a sportsman.
Yeah.
Plays
basketball. Went number one in the draft. He's, all that sort of stuff about basketball, which I don't know. But the guy's got $250 million. Went to Crown Casino with two of his friends and a white friend, his white manager or something. And everybody got asked for ID. Where are you going? What are you going to do? But the white guy. You're Tfaddal, welcome.
Yeah.
Come on in, you're one of us.
The poorest one was not asked.
Yeah, the worker. Their token white guy,
Yeah.
And when he posted about it on social media, what's going on here, and it should be said that Ben Simmons is an executive producer of the most recent Stan Grant Adam Goods movie. He's using his platform to raise awareness. He's taking the movie to the United States to raise awareness about the challenges that our Indigenous people face in a structurally violent country. Well, structurally racist and settler colonialist country. And that when he raised that issue during the week, the media said, hold on a second, this guy is an ambassador for Melbourne. The city of Melbourne pays Ben Simmons to tweet, to say, loving Melbourne, hashtag Melbourne, because, all the Americans, they want the tourism dollar. They're saying, we shouldn't be paying him if saying this about Crown. And, it comes back to, and I remember when the Adam Goods story first broke, to his credit, Walid Ali said, what this exposes about white power structures is we're okay for you to have colour. We're okay for you to have your own culture, own language, but stay in your box.
Yeah.
If you step out of your box, we will show you where you belong.
Mm.
Adam Goods said, I'm not a gorilla. I'm not Eddie Maguire's a gorilla. I'm not, if a 13-year-old calls me an ape, it's not the 13-year-old girl's issue, it's her parents. What home is she getting raised in that she thinks she can be called she can call me an ape? When Ben Simmons says, I get racially profiled, I'm worth $250 million. I'm the number one basketballer on earth, and I can't get into Crown Casino.
They picked on the wrong person.
The white power structures go, hold on a second, get back in your box, brown boy, black boy, wog boy, Muslim boy. And, it gets traction. Now, it gets traction here, it gets traction for Trump, it gets traction for Modi, it gets traction for Netanyahu. I mean, the reality is, the elections are coming up in Israel pretty soon, which means he needs some blood.
Yeah, he needs some votes, and they're playing warfare. They're playing more anti-Palestinian, anti-Muslim, anti-Arab discourse, and they know how to play that very well because it sells very well in Israel, as it has since the inception of this racist state. So we are going to witness another wave of racism. Another, what we call controversial is an understatement. And this is to win votes, because these days it sells very well if you promote hate, if you promote fear, if you
how does Pauline Hanson get into the Senate? How is Channel 9 paying her? They're paying her to be on Channel 9 in the mornings. Often people don't think about unintended consequences. The reality is Kashmir, Muslim majority, borders Pakistan, naturally should be part of Pakistan. If the people of Kashmir were given a choice, would choose to be Pakistani rather than Indian. Pakistan's nuclear armed. Imran Khan is not going to just let them go in there and,
get away with it. Yeah,
he's not going to let them do nothing.
It's very scary. Before we leave Kashmir, I want to remember Indira Gandhi, the Indian Prime Minister who was assassinated in 1984 and who was really one of the most vocal supporters to Palestine and the relation between Arafat and Indira Gandhi and her son, Rajiv Gandhi, who was assassinated in 1990. We must also mention that India and Pakistan gave scholarship to hundreds of thousands of Palestinian students, including relatives of mine, my uncle, my older brother. So let's hope that doesn't change drastically, and let's hope that the escalation in Kashmir cools down a little bit. And
cools down a lot, inshallah.
A lot, inshallah. Now, the U.S. envoy, the U.S. peace envoy,
very disturbing news.
Jason Greenblatt, we should say, this guy is an arch-Zionist, yeah?
Yeah.
And he's the U.S. peace envoy to
and
the Middle East.
He's not shy to hide it.
I mean, it's like they're sending me as the Australian peace envoy, trying to... I'm going to have to disclose something here. I'm a little bit biased.
So what's his actual role?
You think? His... look, American administration since Oslo... every foreign minister or secretary of the state appoints a U.S. peace envoy. We used to have Zionist ones, but they were able to play it and hide it and get away with it, like Martin Indyk in the 90s. I mean, it's not a secret that he's totally pro-Israel.
An Australian Jew?
Is he?
Yeah.
But after Trump, things have changed. I don't think they were worried about the full bias of their peace team, and they appointed. He appointed his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's good for nothing. Basically, he knows that's his only item on his CV. He is relative. That's it. Kushner appointed his team. So one of the members is Jason Greenblatt. So this guy, his mission is to bring the Palestinians and Israelis around the table for a resolution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. But nevertheless, he showed his full public bias to Israel, especially on social media. He's got an active account on Twitter, and he keeps promoting Israel and attacking the Palestinians, especially after they stopped talking to the Trump administration. One time attacking the Palestinians for promoting hatred in education, supposedly, and one time for paying the families of prisoners. And he made many stupid statements, too many to count, the last of which saying that Israel is the victim of
So he actually said, Yusuf, and this was in an interview with PBS, the public broadcasting service, like the ABC in the United States. He said Israel is actually more the victim than the party that's responsible. Israel's more the victim than the
in
party.
the conflict. Yeah.
He also described the term occupied and the word settlements as pejorative. And he said, from the moment of its formation, the Israelis, were attacked multiple times. They continue to be attacked with terrorism. So I'm not sure why I understand what the premise is.
Well, if this is the language of mediators, what do you think the language of Israelis? He thinks that, Israeli building homes and housings outside the boundaries of Israel is okay, and to use the word settlement is derogatory.
You can't slander Israel.
Yeah, because it has a little bit of a negative connotation.
You think?
Well, these are neighborhoods and cities,
neighborhoods
and Jewish
family
communities.
Yeah,
and it's not occupied. I mean, the whole world says it's occupied, except for him and for his mates. They say it's disputed.
Yeah,
I mean,
the power of language. You probably remember our good friend Mushir Amer,
of course,
who did his PhD 10 years ago on discourse analysis. And Mushir is a Palestinian scholar who came to Australia from Gaza to do his PhD here. And the thesis was totally based on how New York Times covered the Second Intifada. So we're talking from September 2000 to the date of that thesis, which is in 2008, in which Dr. Mushir gathered thousands of evidence that the language used was carefully selected for a political end. So to say the word fence, security fence as opposed to separation wall, to say neighborhood instead of settlement, or communities like Nasser said.
Israeli murdered, Palestinian liquidated.
Exactly. So when you're talking about the Palestinian casualties, the sentence starts with a passive verb. Palestinians killed. Nobody knows who killed the Palestinians. But when there are Israeli casualties, you start the sentence with a subject. They start the sentence with Palestinian militants killed civilians.
Or terrorists.
Not Israelis.
They'll
Or
use the word
terrorists. So these things are not coincidental.
It's very powerful too, because
These
people
things
don't
are
know they're
careful.
taking it in.
They're not coincidence. In fact, even the BBC has a dictionary of words to use
when it comes
to Israel-Palestine. Acceptable language.
Is that from the Israel Project? The marketing guy put something together, I don't know, about 10 years ago, saying the words that you should use and the words that you should not use.
Well, that's
and it seems to be everywhere.
That's in Zionist Hasbara, but the reality, whether it's the concerted quality, caliber, and number of complaints that go either to the ABC or to the BBC, and the effective lobbying of those powerful institutions, whether it's the Anti-Defamation League or whomever it might be, in Australia, the United States, Britain, the Western world, what ends up happening is that those places self-censor, and so rather than calling it occupied, it suddenly becomes disputed, and it becomes,
So, for example, Kashmir is a disputed territory between India and Pakistan. We might understand this in the context of Kashmir, but to use the word dispute between, disputed between whom and whom? If the Palestinians dispute with Israel over what? We have no territories. We don't have sovereignty on anything in our historical Palestine. What's sad is that the shift towards pro-Israel end in discourse is happening not only in the United States, Australia, or the West, but also in the Arab world. So speaking about myself as a person who has been following Arab media all his life, I have witnessed and seen this change in language, in discourse, in terms, when it comes to the representation of the Palestinian cause in Arabic media. So up until the 90s, the word Israel in Arabic media was not used. So you don't say the I word.
Wow, okay.
So you call it the Zionist entity.
I like that a lot.
Al-Kiyan al-Suhyuni. You don't say Israel. And we started seeing Israel mentioned, but next to it there is ihtilal, which is occupation. So you don't, second stage after the Zionist entity is, yes, you can use it, but you can use next to it occupation. So al-ihtilal al-Israeli. And now the word occupation dropped, so you can use Israel.
It's actually gone.
It's gone. And also, when it comes to the Palestinian victims of the Israelis, there were total agreement among Arabs. So when you count the murdered Palestinians at the hands of Israeli soldiers or settlers, so you'll say Shaheed, and Shaheed is martyr. And not anymore. So these days, the Palestinians victims are referred to as dead or killed or murdered. The word Shaheed also dropped in the discourse. And the list goes on and on. So it's changing.
It's changing quickly too, isn't it?
Not to our favor, including Arab media.
Yeah, not to worry.
So in the last maybe 2 minutes, I want to pay tribute to a Palestinian artist from Jerusalem who passed away a few days ago, Mr. Kamal Balata from Jerusalem, who, like all the people of Jerusalem, suffered at the hand of Israelis. So if you are from Western Jerusalem, you had lost your home in 48. If you are in the eastern part of Jerusalem, you became occupied since 67. So he started his career as an artist in Europe, mainly in Germany, between Germany and the United States, in which he presented beautiful art. First, he started presenting Palestinian art, then on issues of humanity in general, universal art. He left us a few days ago, and unlike other Jews who can say in their wills that they want to be buried in Jerusalem and get that easily, he said that he wants to be buried in Jerusalem, but we don't know if the Israelis will approve that.
Well, I mean, if history tells us anything, they certainly won't. And I think one of the most profound things I ever remember, aside from the impact of his visual art, is he grew up drawing pictures of the Dome of the Rock.
Yeah.
And he said in an interview, I keep reminding myself that Jerusalem is not behind me; it's constantly ahead of me. So God rest his soul, Ali Yarhamu, and it's in front of all of us, inshallah.
Inshallah. And definitely when we talk about artists and people of literature and the symbols of knowledge in Palestine, we talk about them with so much respect for what they did and what they will continue to do, because Palestinian resistance cannot be limited to armed struggle or popular struggle. Palestinian resistance is in every aspect of life, especially arts and literature. So I think we have run out of time. That's it for this week's edition of Palestine Remembered, gentlemen.
I hope everyone has a good weekend. Good seeing you both again. And
you too, Rob and Yusuf. And from all of the Ahmad Ramawis, Robert Ahmad, Yusuf Ramawi,
and Nasser Ahmad. This is the three of us wishing you...
The three amigos.
Yes, and salam.